Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 9 Frames Podcast. This is episode 32. It is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, and the postseason has begun, folks.
Yeah, 4 great games yesterday.
Yeah, definitely not what I saw happening, quite literally in any of them, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about some little things that happen with teams that are not in the postseason first. Firstly, David Stearns becomes the first Mets president of baseball operations the day after Buck Showalter's let go. Kind of wanted your thoughts and opinions on this pair of moves.
I think that they probably go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime somebody of that importance comes into your organization, you can kind of expect like 90% of the time they're going to want to build their own staff and their own team because now it's there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not going to lie, with the way that he's newly established, I didn't foresee it being Buck Showalter being let go before this move happened.
Yeah.
I definitely thought Showalter was going to stick around at least for a year or two.
I thought he'd be a part of that maybe like 10% where he was able to withstand the turnover and the higher-ups because of who he is and what he's done.
The players absolutely love Buck, too,
yeah.
I know they're not happy to let him go. I think I even heard that Pete was he was talked out of going to talk to Steve Cohen himself right away.
Yeah, he was visibly upset, apparently.
So
hard to blame him because, I mean, Buck is such a player's manager.
Exactly.
And, I mean, I don't think I've ever heard a player say a bad word about the guy, so...
No, even our young kids really loved him, and he played them a bunch this season, and they loved playing for him. They only spoke highly of him. Kind of sad to see him go, because I'm not sure there's many people you could replace that are better.
Yeah, and he was quite emotional about it. By the end of his media speech, he was, like, almost in tears, man. So, I mean... The guy had a special connection to the city and the team and the fans, and they decided to go in a different direction, which is totally okay, as he said in the presser.
Right.
That's just how it goes sometimes. I mean, it's baseball.
And that being said, I do think that the Stearns move is phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
I think it's exactly what the Mets needed.
I mean, a lot of analysts have said that it's like it could be a potential franchise-altering move because of how. Look at the success that the Brewers have had.
Yeah,
They've made the playoffs 5 out of the last 6 years, and he's been there in charge.
We'll have to see what happens with the Mets managerial job because there's a lot of good managers on the market right now, too.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big-name guy because this guy, Stearns, might do a little more analytical research and find somebody who's more of a diamond in the rough rather than a big name like Bob Melvin or a Craig Counsell if they're available.
We'll have to see. I wonder how late that move is made into the offseason.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting because they got work to do for the roster as well.
Big time.
I mean...
You want to find some stability, and you want free agents to know who they're playing for.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of managers, we're going to move it on over to the American League as Phil Nevin will not return as manager next season for the LA Angels. Went 73-89 this year. Not really his fault, in my opinion. This was a real, disaster season in terms of injuries to his stars. He had, nobody for a big stretch of the season there.
Yeah, for sure.
He's 119 and 149 overall as the Angels manager, and this move guarantees that they will have 5 managers in 7 seasons after Mike Scioscia held that job for 19 years.
See, they go from... sustained stability, and now it's just instability.
It's the type of move that makes you not want to let a guy like Buck Showalter go because he's going to be a manager that you can slot in there every year, and he's going to know ball, man. Just like Mike Scioscia was for the Angels. So maybe the Mets will end up regretting letting Showalter go as the Angels did with Scioscia, but that was kind of a retirement, right?
Yeah, he was done. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to retire, or he didn't want to manage anymore because he was doing it for so long.
Yeah, very long stretch.
The same could be said for Buck, and Buck did retire for 4 years, but the Mets did something to pull him out of retirement. He must have believed in the vision of Steve Cohen and them. So, yeah, it sucks. But I loved Buck. I think he's a great manager.
And coming back to the Nevin situation, I don't think it's really fair to him. I think a lot of people have been saying that. What could he have done better with what he was given?
I was a little bit surprised they fired him. I thought they would at least give him next year, but who's to say that the Angels are even competitive next year? Who cares? Maybe my guy can get out of there and get a better job in a different organization.
That's what I was saying. I heard this on MLB Network. I'm not sure who said it specifically, but they listed the jobs that were available. Now the Giants' job is available. Padres' job could be available if Melvin leads. Brewers' job could be available. Mets' job could be available, and the Angels' job. The Angels' job is objectively the worst one there.
Yeah, I mean,
if you have
if
you have a choice on where to go, the last one you would go to is the Angels. So the Angels are going to end up with a bad manager regardless.
There's so much uncertainty surrounding the Angels, and specifically Ohtani. And if Ohtani leaves, do they then consider to move Trout? It could be a completely different team.
It definitely could.
And I mean, who's to say Phil Nevin even wants to be there for a rebuild like that, man? Like he's a new manager.
I hope he lands on his feet and gets a job elsewhere, because he worked a long time to get a job in managing a big league club, and it's not easy to get that job.
I think he has a chance to go somewhere else because he's another one like Buck that the players love playing for him. Sounds like it's just genuinely a great guy, so I'm sure he'll land on his feet, but if it's getting out of a rebuild, maybe it's not the worst thing for him.
Yeah, so the Mets and the Angels, 2 big job listings up, and now we will get into the postseason action.
We're basically just going to keep this in order of how the games were televised yesterday for the sake of just the continuity. And that means the American League games were up first. The first game specifically was the Texas Rangers were finally back in the postseason, first time since 2016. They're heading down to St. Pete and taking on the Rays in the Trop. Texas is coming into last night was 5-0 all time in franchise history in the playoffs in Tropicana Field.
Yeah, pretty wild that they've dominated that franchise there. I mean, it's kind of probably because of a lot of the success that we give the Rays in our head is recent, and the Rangers haven't been there for that. So they haven't been battling these Rays teams.
Yeah, very true. And now they would look to go 6-0. And they, you were a little bit surprised by this. You thought they might go with Nate Eovaldi, but they go with big Jordan Montgomery in Game 1, and boy, did it pay off.
It did. Before we get into this game, man, I do want to say I am super disappointed in the fact that there was less than 20,000 people at this game. Yeah, I mean, it's every other game was packed to the gills, completely full stadiums, and then this one had a lot of empty seats, and I don't like that for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the attendance issues continue in Tampa Bay.
With them getting a new stadium deal announced, you hope it improves. If they spend all that money on a new stadium and they're getting less than 20,000 people in playoff games, that's a big problem, man.
Hopefully, it was on the lower end because it was a Tuesday 3 o'clock start. Maybe that's a little hard for people to get to because they got to work and shit.
Minnesota started at 4, and there wasn't an empty seat in the building.
That's the thing. I mean, I'm trying to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but it was not a good scene. Under $20K for Game 1 of a postseason series is not great.
Every other postseason game was electric and fully packed. So.
Yeah.
Getting into the game, it was very interesting, though, and it was great baseball. No disrespect to the players.
Well, that's always the theme of the Rays. I mean, they won 99 games, and they still don't got fans showing up.
Very true.
It's a problem. Jordan Montgomery would be taking on Tyler Glasnow, the ace of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Really fun matchup.
The story of this one, though, was Monty, man. Jordan Montgomery, he just kind of dominated. Made a nice play in the field, that diving catch.
Insane to see.
He gives Texas 7 scoreless while allowing only 6 hits and no walks with 5 Ks. I mean, 7 scoreless and you're in Game 1 from Jordan Montgomery, man. The Rangers will take that.
Yeah, they could not get to him. He's been pretty untouchable for the last couple of weeks, and since he came to so really since the beginning of August, he's just been nasty.
Yeah, since coming over to Texas, I mean, he's got what, like a mid 2.5?
Yeah, I mean, if you're counting this start, it's got to be even lower. Yeah, about there.
I mean, he's been absolute nails for them.
What a great deal.
Speaking of nails, the Rangers bullpen has been a little bit shaky toward the end of the season. I mean, they were really bad for a stretch there. But Chapman and Leclerc would come out the back end of the bullpen arms, and they would completely dominate each of their innings. And Texas would go on to win Game 1, 4-0.
Yeah, this game was pretty one-sided from the beginning. Not a lot of fight in the Rays, which again was also disappointing. Maybe could be attributed to the fact that they didn't have so much of a home field advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Glasnow was he was okay. He had a little bit of command issues was the problem. He goes 5 innings, allowing 6 hits as well, but he allows 4 runs, only 3 earned because the Rays were just atrocious in the field yesterday, man. 5 walks, that will hurt you absolutely every single time. But 8 Ks, so he still did get his Ks.
Yeah, you said about that defense, man. Tampa Bay made a franchise record 4 errors behind him and gave him no run support either. So what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fully blame Glasnow. He wasn't his best yesterday. He had good stuff, but when your offense gives you 0, it doesn't matter if you give up 1. You ain't winning.
I'm not putting the blame on him at all in this one. He kept his team in the game, and they did not strike back at all.
Yeah, 4 errors is crazy, too. I mean, they're not specifically known as, like, a good defensive team anymore because of how injury-riddled they are, but 4 errors is not what you want to see in a Game 1.
No, not great stuff. Really ugly plays by Jose Siri in center. I mean, it's an ugly day out there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was going to give the rundown of as the Rangers got their runs. The first one was a sac fly from Josh Young. Absolutely fantastic rookie season from him.
Very much.
That was in the 2nd inning. In the 5th inning, Tyler Glasnow would throw a wild pitch with bases loaded to allow 1, but he limited the damage, only allowing just that 1.
He'll do that.
Yeah, and then 2 off of a Seager single with that Siri error you were talking about, where he kind of nonchalantly tried to pick it, and then it bounced up straight in the air, and he just fired it to third base, and it overshot the third baseman and went right into the dugout.
Yeah, he looked like a hockey goalie with his glove just swatting it away.
Yeah, so that was in the 6th inning, and that puts the Rangers up 4-0, and like I said, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, tough days for Jose Siri and Taylor Walls out in the field. Not a great look for the Rays.
Yeah, and these wild card series make it really interesting, man, because now, just like that, Tampa Bay looks to avoid elimination today. Their season is on the line. A 99-win team is 1 day away from being gone. And they got to take on nasty Nady Eovaldi, who is... He's been good in the postseason before. If you remember the 2018 World Series,
definitely,
for the Red Sox. But the Rays are sending out their own stud, Zach Eflin. He had 16 wins this year, man. Tied for the American League.
Are they tied together?
I don't know if...
No, it's not Eovaldi. It was
Bassett.
It was Bassett.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, Bassett.
Eovaldi was up there, though. I think he had, like...
If it wasn't for the injury, I think he definitely would have been there.
He still had 12,
So impressive years for both of these guys. Should be a great pitching matchup. I will say, man, my confidence isn't really shaken too much in Tampa Bay. They played the worst possible game that they could, and they only lost 4-0.
That's a very positive way to look at it, but if you look at it as a pessimistic view, that is a really bad way to start a really short series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Tampa Bay...
You really got to turn it around quick.
Tampa Bay's not the 0-run team or the 4-error team, so don't expect to see that in the box score today.
That's true. I wanted to say, as I wrote it this morning, the starters were TBD for Game 3, if necessary, but it appears as if the Rays have gone ahead and announced Aaron Savale as their starter for that game. The Rangers have still not announced one. You'd maybe assume if Gray's healthy, he could go out. Maybe Dane Dunning.
Oh, I could see a Dane Dunning start. Yeah,
if they need him, because he's stepped up in big spots when they need him.
Yeah,
so.
Had a solid year. Who would you go with out of those two? I think I go Dunning.
Probably Dunning. Maybe if they want to mix in a lefty for Martin Perez for like a 2 or 3 inning thing, and then switch over to Dunning. I don't know, because all hands are going to be on deck for that game. Maybe
start Dunning and take Perez out of the pen. He's been doing that this year.
If Texas loses today, all hands will be on deck for Thursday with the series on the line.
Yeah, my pick for this series was the Rays in 3. It's not an easy thing to do to win 2 games in a row after losing the first of this series, but I'm going to stick with them. I still believe in them.
I don't know if we mentioned it on the pod last episode, but every team that won Game 1 last year went on to win the series.
I believe
with 3 sweeps, and the only one that won a game was the Mets against the Padres, and they still lost in 3.
Very true.
So, the Rays will actually be looking to do something that no one's ever done yet.
Yeah, which I can see them being that team to make that history. We'll have to keep an eye on it and let you guys know on Friday, but I'm sticking with the Rays. They got to win the next 2.
Yeah, I think they definitely have a good chance. They just really need to tighten up.
Just stop throwing the ball away and please field it.
And also hit the ball. Let's get some runs today, Tampa Bay, you know?
Yeah, well, at least they don't got Monty. Sticking in the AL, man, and this game was fun. Minnesota hosting Toronto for Game 1 of the AL Wildcard Series. Not a series we thought was going to match up last week.
No, definitely not, but the Twins are on a long losing streak. Haven't won a game in, 18, their last 18 tries. They're 0-18.
They haven't won a postseason game since 2004 in ALDS Game 1 against the Yankees, man.
Yeah, so it's been quite a while. They would definitely look to do that against the Blue Jays in the second game of the day, and how'd it go?
They give the ball over to Pablo Lopez, which I wasn't sure about, but boy, did he prove me wrong. I was a Sonny Gray guy. They'll have him for Game 2 anyway. Pablo Lopez on the bump versus Kevin Gausman for Toronto. And the pitching was really good in this game.
Yeah, absolute pitcher's duel.
The Twins seemed to really have a good read on Gausman's off-speed stuff, which made it difficult for him early and often.
One guy specifically.
Story of the game is Royce Lewis, the 24-year-old rookie. He goes 2 for 3 in this game with 2 home runs and all 3 of Minnesota's runs in his first postseason game ever.
Yeah, they were given a nice 2-0 lead in the first inning because of Royce Lewis. Give everybody a chance to, get into the game, get loud, and it looked like it kind of stifled the Blue Jays a little bit.
And talking about giving the home fans something to cheer about, Pablo Lopez goes 5 2/3, giving up 5 hits, 2 walks, only 3 Ks, but he's not really a big K guy. He had a lot on the season, actually.
He has become a better K guy.
Kind of weird to see it low in that game, actually.
The Blue Jays just weren't swinging and missing much, but he still grinds out the win.
Excuse me, I don't know why I said he wasn't a big K guy. Yeah, he was in the 200s for sure this year.
Yeah, he had 230 plus, I think.
Yeah, great season in strikeouts. Not a great game in strikeouts, but he gets the job done, only giving up 1 run and getting the win, as the Blue Jays only get a lone run on Kevin Kiermaier's single in the 6th. Yeah, so the Minnesota pitching was great in this game. So was their defense. It was also a Kiermaier single in the 4th, a infield single that gets
a little dribbler.
Yeah, gets past Jorge Polanco. Man, Correa is covering second base. He cuts back towards third and makes a bare hand play to throw out Bo Bichette at home, saving a run there.
Yeah, what was it? 2-0 at that time, or was it maybe 3? But that would have been a huge momentum shift for the Blue Jays to get a run there, and Correa made a fantastic play to rob them of a run.
Yeah, they definitely needed that.
I think, unfortunately, Bichette stopped at third base instead of just running through because he didn't really fully recognize that Polanco just whiffed on it, and it was slowly rolling away. And I also don't think he fully knew that Correa was busting his ass to grab the ball like that.
I mean, the play Correa made isn't a play that many shortstops are capable of, and he was dealing with foot issues to end the year, so I think Bichette kind of just misunderstood what was going on there.
Yeah, that's why he won a Platinum Glove.
Very true.
Shortstop.
Very true. And speaking of their defense, there was also, after the Kiermaier single in the 6th for an RBI, a great catch by Michael A. Taylor with 2 on in the 6th. That would save the tying runs coming in.
Yeah, Matt Chapman was the one that hit it, man. It was an up and away fastball, and he drove it to the opposite field gap, and it looked like he got one at least enough to go off that high wall in right center in Minnesota, but Taylor makes a great leaping catch at the wall.
Yeah, the great defense by Correa and Michael A. Taylor ends up preserving that 3-1 win. The Minnesota combo of Louis Varland, Caleb Thielbar, Griffin Jacks, and Johan Duran, who gets the save, goes 3 1/3 scoreless for Minnesota, and they win the game 3-1 to go up 1-0 in this series.
What did I say, man? The bullpen and pitching is what gets it done.
This was another series where I had Blue Jays in 2. Obviously, that's not happening anymore. I'm not out on the Blue Jays completely, but I don't feel great about their chances, not going to lie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they still got some decent arms lined up, but
Minnesota won me over with their play in that one, but the bats do have to wake up.
It'll be interesting to see it like years down the line how the stat looks with how often the Game 1 winner wins the series in the wild card, because last year they were 4 for 4, so I guess we'll see if that continues this year or if these teams fight back a little differently. But yeah, I'm not completely out on the Blue Jays. They got Barrios going today, and
it's fully capable, because if you look at this game, we were really a couple swings away from it going the other way. This is a game they only won because of two homers by one guy is the way they won this.
Not even really a couple swings. It was just a couple of great defensive plays that took away a couple runs from them. And I mean, if Correa doesn't make that play, that's a run. And if Taylor doesn't make that play, that's probably 2. So now that's what? 4-3 Blue Jays. They're on top.
Easily could be talking about this game going the other way, and we'll be looking forward to Game 2 today.
Great defense on the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, Minnesota looks to wrap the series against former Twin Jose Barrios. He went 11-12 with a 3.65 in 32 games started this year. He'll be facing off with Sonny Gray, who I had originally posted for Game 1, which it feels great to have this guy because he went 8-8 with a 2.79 in 32 games started. Phenomenal year for him.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it's going to play to how they wanted to, the Twins, that is, with Lopez doing his job in Game 1. Now they got their Cy Young candidate going Game 2, and Sonny Gray does have a 2.95 ERA in his postseason career, he is a good postseason pitcher when he gets there. We'll see if he can continue it today, and I think he's got a decent chance to do that.
Yeah, Minnesota's feeling good, but it's. I mean, you got to know their bats have to be better, or they don't win that game.
Yeah, they had more hits than the Twins. Just the Twins' hits left the yard.
Yep, very true.
Yeah, they do need to put up more runs today for sure. One's not going to get it done.
Yeah, a possible Game 3. It was originally 2 TBDs when I checked. Joe Ryan has now announced for the Twins if they go to that Game 3, and it's a guarantee that Chris Bassett, who is tied for AL wins lead, would go for Toronto in that Game 3 as well, which would be a really fun matchup.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the Blue Jays are waiting for. I would bet my entire life savings that the Blue Jays are going to start Chris Bassett that third game.
Their other 2 options would be Hyun-Jin Ryu or Yusei Kikuchi. I'm not even sure if one of them's probably off the roster. Kikuchi, if I had to guess.
I'm telling you, it's going to be Bassett. He had 16 wins. He pitched every 5th day. They're going to give him the ball.
Yeah, so, I mean, Game 3 would be Bassett versus Joe Ryan. I wanted your thoughts and opinions on this series, and if you have a prediction on going forward.
I said I had Twins in 3. I think the Blue Jays could absolutely steal one today, and then it comes down to Thursday, but I don't know. It's going to be tough now with Sonny Gray going today. He was really, really good this year for the Twins. Real career resurgence. I think I'm gonna be bold. I think the Twins are just gonna wrap this up today.
I wouldn't be super shocked if they did. Getting through the Lopez versus Gausman game with a win here, I mean, you feel good about this.
Yeah, I mean, only scoring 3 off of Gausman and being able to beat him, that's telling. They're locked in.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Blue Jays, but after that first game, I don't feel great about them. I just got to be honest. I can see Twins in 3 or Twins wrapping it up today. I kind of am out on the Blue Jays in that.
Yeah, we'll see, I guess. I'm still going to stick with my Twins pick, obviously, after a Game 1 win, but I won't fully count out the Blue Jays. They're still a talented roster. They almost had 90 wins.
That's what I started with. Yeah, they're not done, but I don't feel great about them.
It's an uphill battle. So that's going to be a wrap on the American League Series for the day, as the road team goes 1-1. So we'll move it on over to the NL, where the Brewers were set to host the D-backs for the Wild Card Series. And a nice domed stadium, after looking at that Twins field with the shadows and how it looks outside at that time. The teams that play inside or have the option to play inside are definitely benefited.
Interesting that you say that, too, because both of these teams have indoor stadiums, so either way they wouldn't be worried.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that's part of the reason why they were as good as they were this year, because they didn't have to deal with elements as much as other teams. Who knows? I mean, that's complete speculation, but it could be. The Snakes, weirdly, I couldn't really figure out why they would do this. They started rookie Brandon Pfaadt in Game 1 against former Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burns, and it looked like a really bad idea through the first 2 innings.
Yeah, we were pretty baffled by this move.
The Brew Crew would open up the scoring really early. They would get a single in the first from Carlos Santana, and then a pair in the second from Tyrone Taylor's first home run of the postseason. It was an absolute shot.
Yeah, it really was. Towering shot to left
second
field.
decker. So that makes it 3-0 in the second inning already.
Yeah, the Crew's got to be feeling phenomenal. You get a 3-0 lead, and you got your Cy Young ace on the mound.
The only problem is their Cy Young ace looked to hit a wall a bit in the third inning. And the D-backs, man, we were watching this game, and it was like the Burns was cruising. He looked good, and then all of a sudden in the third inning, the D-backs took 2 swings, and the game was tied. Corbin Carroll hits a 2-run homer, his first of the postseason, and then on the very next pitch, Ketel Marte absolutely rips one to right field.
Yeah, these balls got out of there in a hurry. Both of them really did.
Yeah, his first of the post, so that makes it 3-3, just immediately.
Burns is shaking up, and I mean, Bloop and a blast will get it, but how about a couple blasts?
Yeah, on back-to-back pitches, too, man. I mean, he didn't even let the guy breathe.
Yeah,
he gave up a 2-run homer, he was like, oh, shit. And then, boom, there goes the tie game.
This was the most exciting game of yesterday for that exact reason. Really back-and-forth battle.
And unfortunately, after hitting that wall in the third, he would go back out in the fourth, and Gabby Moreno would hit an absolute nuke off him. So Burns just couldn't keep the ball in the park yesterday. That was the problem. And the balls that were hit out of the park, they went far or they left quickly.
Yeah, and Moreno's been phenomenal for Arizona.
Yeah, he had a great trade from the Blue Jays. Both of those teams make the playoffs, so it's like the Marlins Twins trade where both teams are in, so it's a win-win.
Oh, yeah, Blue Jays use Varsho big time.
Yeah, of course. That would be the fourth and final run that Burns gives up in the fourth inning. His final line would be 4 innings pitched only, 5 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 5 Ks.
Not gonna lie, I really expected better from him, especially after getting a 3-0 lead. You expect a guy like him to kind of settle down to a certain extent after that.
Yeah, you'd think that the Brewers would be comfortable having a 3-0 lead with their ace on the mound, but
as comfortable as you could in the post.
But the shout out to the D-backs for turning it around quickly, very quickly. There wouldn't be any scoring up until the 9th inning, where the D-backs would add another pair on from a Christian Walker double, where another one he just missed that home run.
Very true. Hits the wall there.
That makes it 6-3, and that would be your final score. The D-backs win 6-3 and now lead the series 1-0.
Yeah, that inning was an absolute backbreaker. It was a real spirit breaker. They were one swing away, the Brewers, that is, and it turns into much more than that.
Yeah, now I've been saying, man, what wins games in the postseason? Pitching and bullpen.
And not for nothing, Paul Sewald gets the save for Arizona. I've been hyping him up since that trade.
I mean, specifically the Snakes bullpen, dude. They go 6 1/3 scoreless, give up nothing after getting the lead to cap off a great Game 1. And now the idea of starting Fought in Game 1 looks great because of who's coming up the next 2 games.
Yeah, D-backs get my performance of the day for sure, as a team in general.
Game 2 now, as the Brewers are without Brandon Woodruff for maybe the whole postseason if they continue, and definitely this series because he was supposed to start today. It's going to be Zach Gallen now going for the kill against Freddie Peralta, who had to be moved up from Game 3 to Game 2 because of Woodruff's absence.
Yeah, that's scary. The thing is, there's not really a solid footing for the Brew Crew right now. They get 12 hits in that game yesterday and only 3 runs. They have to score. They have to get those runs in.
Yeah, especially against the bullpen. I mean, it wasn't even a starter for most of a majority of the game. I mean,
could be pretty tough for Freddie too, having to step up a day earlier than he was originally expected with his teammate going down with a shoulder injury.
I think he'll be up to the task, but I mean, the Brewers, you guys are going to have to score more than 4, as it appears, because the D-backs came out swinging.
Very true.
Game 3, if necessary, the D-backs already have Merrill Kelly announced. The Brewers don't have a starter because of Woodruff's injury. I think that it'll probably be Wade Miley. If not, it would be maybe like an Adrian Hauser opener, like he goes 3 or 4 innings, then they turn it over.
It would have to be. Taking a look at their depth chart, they got Wade Miley as the next one up, Adrian Hauser, and then literally an opener, which would be Colin Reyes. So
yeah, I think it would probably be Wade Miley.
I go Miley.
But they do not have anybody announced as of this moment.
No, it could even be Miley with Hauser backing him up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it'll be the same thing as anytime there's a Game 3. It's winner take all. All hands are going to be on deck.
But what I will say is right now, after losing Game 1 the way that you did and with so much uncertainty and having to move pitchers around, it's not a great feeling for the Brewers.
No, I mean, again, especially losing that first game at home like the Rays and Brewers did, it's tough to rebound because say you show up, right, and today the Brewers give up a 3 spot in the first. that home crowd is going to turn on them.
Yeah,
they're going to get pissed.
I'm not out on the Brewers, and I don't see that first inning 3 spot coming with Freddie on the mound.
I'm not saying that it will, but I'm saying if it does, I mean, the crowd could get restless, and then now you got to win them back while trying to battle back against a team that wants to win as much as you do. So, the Brewers really just need to start fast this game. I think they need, like yesterday, they need to score early and often, and just what they got to do differently is just hold it.
Yeah, super interesting series there. Not how I saw Game 1 going, so I'm going to be pretty locked in on Game 2 and maybe 3.
Yeah, me too. I picked the Brewers in 2, so I was already wrong. And the D-backs might prove me completely wrong and just pull out a series win.
Can't quite remember if I said Brewers in 2 or 3, but I know I had the Brewers, which I will stick with, I think.
Yeah.
Because looking at this, man, they really could have won this game too. 12 hits in the game is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, but I mean, Gallen and Kelly back-to-back now after just losing to Brandon Pfaadt and basically a bullpen game. It's a tough task.
And it's going to be a battle if they end up making it. Now we move to the nightcap of Day 1 of the 2023 postseason, which saw division rivals Miami and the Philadelphia Phillies face off in Philadelphia. And this is going to be a fun series, I think.
Yeah, it might be a quick series, though, by the way the first one went.
That is kind of the trend with these wild card series, yeah. We start Game 1 with Luzardo versus Wheeler, which is a really fun pitching matchup and a pretty quiet offensive night in runs, but not in base runners, man. There was a lot of traffic in this one.
Yeah, a lot of good pitching to get out of trouble for a majority of it. Unfortunately, Wheeler and the Phillies were better at it than the Marlins.
Yeah, I was going to say Wheeler really smothered basically every threat in this game. That's kind of sort of the story of the game. He goes 6 2/3, gives up 5 hits, not a single walk, 8 Ks and only 1 run on a De La Cruz single all the way in the 7th inning.
That's kind of been what he's been since showing up in Philadelphia. He's really become a bona fide front end of the rotation starter, and honestly, I would call him an ace.
Fair to say.
He pitches as an ace.
He's certainly their ace at this point.
Every 5th day, he goes out there and he gives them a quality start, and that's what you call an ace.
Covering Luzardo's game, they got to him a bit in the 3rd and 4th as Alec Boehm scores Johan Rojas on a double in the 3rd, and then Bryson Stott gets an RBI single to bring Real Muto. That play sees Castellanos gunned by Jazz Chisholm, man. This play was insane. A second run trying to come in on this play, a spinning throw by Jazz Chisholm, looking like a middle infielder, which he is formerly, for the first out of that inning. Saving a run there.
Yeah, real nice stuff. I mean,
super impressive. A 3rd run gets in, but he saves the 4th coming in.
I thought he would be a little more shaky than he has been in center field, so shout out to him for adjusting, because it definitely can't be easy to adjust from second base to... He went from shortstop to second base to center field. I mean, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, Real Muto comes in for the 2nd run of the game. Castellanos would have been the 3rd, but gets gunned at home. Christian Pache gets an RBI single to score Stott to go up 3-0 in that inning, but it could have been 4-0 real easy.
That's the biggest thing about the Phillies, man. They got depth. Like Christian Pache is driving in runs in the playoffs for them.
Yeah, and then not to mention Johan Rojas scores, and he's just been a stud for them since coming up.
That's a rookie right there. I mean, that's what good teams have, though. They got depth. They've got it all, and the Phillies have built a winning ball club.
So, like I said, middle of the game now, and the Phillies are up 3-0. De La Cruz gets an RBI single, like we mentioned, in the 7th inning to go 3-1. Castellanos, his name is all over this game. He gets an RBI double off Stephen Okert, who is a left-hand pitcher who came in the game to face Bryce Harper. That's who he was brought in for, but Bryce gets a single and ends up scoring on this double, so it didn't work out for the Fish.
And Bryce blows through the stop sign of the third base coach. He just kept going. He was like, he flipped the lid off, and he was chugging. He was scoring no matter what.
It's kind of the difference between really confident players. There was a similar play in the Diamondbacks-Brewers game that cost a runner for the Brewers.
Yeah. I think if Bryce wants to run, he's going to run.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did.
He's a 2-time MVP. I don't think you can stop him.
Castellanos actually moves to 3rd on a sloppy throw home that Harper drew, and very savvy base running by Nick. But he'll be kept there as Okert tightropes with a Bryson Stott strikeout and a Brandon Marsh flyout.
I think an interesting conversation for the Phillies would be, who do you think has been more of a valuable signing? Castellanos or Schwarber? Because Schwarber, I mean, he didn't hit 200, but he did hit nearly 50 bombs.
I think it'll depend a lot on how much of a run Philadelphia makes and how big of a part Castellanos plays this year, because Schwarber was kind of one of their MVPs of the postseason run last year.
Yeah, but Castellanos has been... I mean, he's been a surprise defensively in right field. He's been actually pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
I think he led baseball or was close to the top in defensive runs saved.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Not what he was known for previously.
And I don't know. I think both of those signings were good for them for what they needed. And at the time, people were like, "Oh, they're going to be so bad at defense. What are they thinking?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's working out. They're
It
in the
definitely
postseason
has,
for the second straight year. Last year, they went to the World Series, so I think it's working out.
Yeah, and Castellanos' RBI double ended up making the game 4-1. Philadelphia bullpen combo of Jose Alvarado, Jeff Hoffman, and legendary Craig Kimbrell, who ends up getting the save in this one. They combined for 2 1/3 innings of shutdown baseball, shut the door, and put Philadelphia up 1-0 in a 4-1 win. Miami's in trouble, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's really, really, really tough to lose Game 1 on the road. Like we were saying, it's tough to lose Game 1, but at least you'll have your home fans rallying behind you today and tomorrow if you have the chance. The Marlins are not going to have much support in Philadelphia today, being down 1-0, so it's going to take a lot.
Yeah, they end up getting 7 hits in that game, but only 1 run across, so that's another team that really needs to get them in.
Need more timely hitting.
Mm-hmm. Game 2 lines up Braxton Garrett, another lefty, so back-to-back lefties for the Fish. He's 9-7 on the year with a 3.66 in 31 games and 30 games started. He'll be facing off with who was previously known as the Philadelphia Phillies ace, Aaron Nola. He is 12-9 on the year with a 4.46 ERA. He had 202 strikeouts in the year, though.
Yeah.
32 games started. Nola also, just noting this, he has given up 14 earned runs in 25 2/3 innings pitched. He was 2 for 2 with a 4.91. That was last year's postseason run for Philadelphia.
Yeah, so he needs to step it up a little bit more than last year.
Mm-hmm. Miami is in the winner-go-home situation. They struggled big time to bring in runs, so they got to get that done. And if it gets to Game 3, both of them are listed as TBDs. Are they not?
I don't know. No, I mean, I'm assuming...
no, they are, yeah.
I'm assuming that the Phillies would go with Ranger Suarez.
Right. I actually am not sure. I was going to say they have choices. It's between Ranger Suarez, Taijuan Walker, or Christopher Sanchez. You think they go with Suarez over Taijuan?
I think it'll probably be Suarez if they had to choose.
Taijuan's been around the league a while, so I don't be shocked if it's him either.
I don't think he's good enough, really, if you want my opinion.
And then for Miami, looking at their depth
and
chart...
also, they would switch it up from 2 righties to a lefty with Ranger instead of 3 straight righties with Taijuan.
That's true. For Miami, it is, looking at their depth chart, it's most definitely Edward Cabrera.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Edward Cabrera would have to be going for them.
Dude, I'm not even going to lie to you. If it gets to that point, I think I would give Johnny Cueto the start and just have somebody like Cabrera behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least he's been there. Edward Cabrera is not going to be the answer for Game 3.
I don't know if Cueto even made the roster, though, you know?
Oh, I mean, I don't know that
I don't
he
know
has to have. Why would you sign him for him to not make the roster?
I just
it's not
don't
like they're
I don't know if
overly
they were...
abundant. They don't have an overabundance of pitchers right now. Starters, specifically.
Yeah, he did not make the roster.
Okay, so the Marlins are stupid.
They just didn't... They were never going to pitch Johnny Cueto
They
in
were
the
never
series.
going to win this series then, so I don't know why the hell we picked them.
Here's my thing is I wouldn't be shocked if they win this second game here, Braxton Garrett versus Aaron Nola, but I actually do see Philly finishing it off. I didn't see Miami winning 2 in a row. I thought it would go Miami, Philly, Miami.
I bet you Kyle Schwarber hits a home run today.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy game for Miami. I don't see them winning the series anymore. Sorry, Marlins fans, if you're listening, but this was a tough Game 1 loss that you guys needed to get those runs in to compete better.
Yeah, hopefully they look a little bit better today, but if they don't, I mean, they'll just be going home.
Mm-hmm. Thank you again, everybody who watches and listens. This has been episode 32 of the 9 Frames podcast, and it is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. Welcome to the postseason, man. It's been a pretty hectic first day.
Yeah, hell of a first day. Very excited for when the second game starts in about 3 hours here. And honestly, even for Thursday, if there's rubber games, those are going to be the real interesting ones.
Yeah, they're going to be very interesting on Friday's episode as we recap what happened in the end of these wild card series and talk about what goes on in the AL and NLDS coming up. You can catch us on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. We're on X at 9 Frames Pod, and we're on Spotify at 9 Frames. I have been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Enjoy the middle of your week, and honestly, right now, forget days, forget the time of the week. Enjoy baseball, man. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and drop a like and a subscription for postseason baseball, if not any other reason.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoy the rest of this, as Bill just said, because
Yeah,
it's gonna be a wild ride.
We appreciate the support, and have a good time.